just, all right. So again, LAMP stands for Language Acquisition through Motor Planning. And for us at our school, that looks like an application on an iPad that our students use to communicate. So the next one says, why do we often recommend LAMP for our students? And I want to preface with that every student's different and LAMP won't always be the solution for every student that we have. But we do tend to choose it for students in our population for a few reasons. And those reasons include that we recognize the benefits of motor learning based principles. And while it may take students or parents and educators time to learn where words are on LAMP, once it is learned, it never moves. And that's kind of the basis of that the motor learning principle, that your hand can find it relatively quickly because once it's there, it's not going to move. And this leads to the constant upward progression with LAMP. Having the words stay in the same position across iPads and classrooms also helps when a student's device breaks down, the device is forgotten, or the device isn't charged. With the exception of a few words that are added for that student individually, a majority of the words on LAMP will be in the same position on every other LAMP app in the school. So for example, the word go is going to be the same position on the iPad in my speech room, the iPad in a classroom. Every iPad with LAMP Go will be in the same spot. Again, that is different if we're adding family members or specific toys and specific foods that don't exist on LAMP, and we're adding those specifically for students. Those are going to change, but most students can navigate different iPads because they are set up with the same vocabulary in the same place. So to compare this to something that we might find in, being adults, you go to type an email, but someone has come in and changed where all of your keys are on the keyboard. Something that was once a quick task now requires you to visually scan each time you want to add a letter. What could have taken you 2 minutes now becomes an exhausting ordeal. So I think that's a good way to think about if students had a communication system where the icons were switching up and moving around each time they used it, it wouldn't be as quick and practiced as we are typing on a keyboard. I know for myself, I barely look at the keys, I'm looking at the screen, and it's a motor memory to type. So if everything was mixed around, that would take a lot longer. Another example that I think of is I always have my text messaging app on the same spot on my iPhone, and my hand kind of goes to it. And if that were to be disrupted, I think it would take a while to relearn that motor memory. So to use LAMP, we do not need to teach visual attending, categorization, or 4 to 6 motor patterns to learn a single word. The student only needs to learn 1 to 3 button sequence to access all 4,500 words on LAMP. Many other applications require up to 6 or 7 buttons to access many words. So if you have a word in mind and you go into LAMP, if you guys have your iPads there in front of you at all, every single word that you're going to find is going to take at most 3 clicks to get to. And this is great for speed, efficiency. Like I said, other applications might require, there might be a more button, or you might have to go into several folders to access the word that the student's looking for. So this is another reason that we really like LAMP. The other thing I had down is that this also alludes to why when you look at LAMP, it can be very overwhelming because it is quite a large grid size, meaning that there's a lot of icons on the home screen and on each page. But having this larger allows less clicks. When the buttons are bigger, you might have to go through several screens to get to the word that you would like. So a big one is how to find words on LAMP, because I don't know where every single word is. I don't think any SLP here knows where every single word is on LAMP. So Word Finder is an excellent tool, and you can access this through the spelling button, which is my preferred method. And this reason is because if you go through the menu button, which let me see if I can circle this. So you can also, I'm going to circle menu. You can also get into Word Finder through there, but you may come up to a password. So what I like to do is this spelling button. So if everyone can find that, it's on the third row, and you touch the purple Word Finder. And then you can type the word that you're looking for. So in this example over here, I typed apple, and then you touch the sequence and it's going to lead you through highlighting where that word is. And I have an example in my next slide. So here, so to get to apple, it highlighted eat, fruit, and then apple. And this is also a great teaching tool if you want to teach a student where a word is and they're on the full page. You can find this and then have them click through the highlighted sequence to practice that word. So that is Word Finder. If anyone needs help finding it, I'm going to circle it on this page. Actually, it's dark, but right here, that spelling button on the third row, and that'll get you to Word Finder. Okay. Okay, and then another big one is Vocabulary Builder. So Vocabulary Builder allows you to only show targeted words from a word list that you create. And this is helpful to limit distractions, increase successful attempts, and it's helpful in making the device less overwhelming for a new learner. It can be used for new learners, but it can also be used for targeted activities. Oh, I'm going to hold for the announcements. Okay, sorry. If anyone was just signing on, I was just holding for the announcements. Okay, so we're talking Vocab Builder. And Vocabulary Builder, I'm gonna go ahead to the example. So on our left here, that's Vocabulary Builder turned off, and that's our full vocab. On the right is an example of Vocabulary Builder turned on. And like I said, there's a few reasons why we use Vocabulary Builder or we don't. We always want to give students the least restrictive. So if we can, we're giving them all the words and all of the vocabulary. But for some students, seeing this board right away can be very overwhelming. Their pointing and accuracy to select certain icons can falter, and that can be frustrating for the student. So we may start with something like Vocab Builder on the right, and we can also do it for specific activities if we're teaching new vocabulary. So I'm going to try to, I'm logged on to my iPad here, so I'm going to try to share my screen over here. And show some examples of that. So I'm going to pin. Okay. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, here we go. I'm going to head over to LAMP. All right. Can everybody see that? Oh, no, I can't see everybody else. Okay, I'm going to hope everyone can see that. So for the full, so you're going to see at the top, you're going to see one hit. We often do not use that. So an example of one hit is it's going to say the word that you click. So usually you can go into play. This one, if you click play, it's going to say play. So we don't often use one hit. We often use LAMP, WFL full, and we copy that to make vocabularies for the students. If the student is a Spanish and English speaker, we also have a Spanish English full LAMP. So I'm going to go down to one that I've made for vocabulary builder if you're working on something like coloring. So this one is just going to have coloring vocabulary. So this is something that we might use for a student, even if they're sometimes working on the full, just to really target those vocabulary words. Okay, and then to get back, I'm going to click vocab, choose new vocab, and then I'm back on this screen. And this is also how I'm going to choose a different user. So if I have the same student using this, two different students using the same iPad, I can go between their specific vocabulary. Okay. So I'm going to put it back on myself and go back to PowerPoint. Okay, so that's vocabulary builder. And then guided access. So guided access is a way to ensure that the device is used solely for communication purposes, so not games or other apps. And a passcode is set up by myself or the SLP when we get the iPad in from district, or for setting up an iPad for a classroom. So the student should not be told the passcode, because the point is that they cannot access the other icons in the iPad. So to do this, we want to triple click the home button to enter and exit guided access. The password will be put in, and like I said, it should almost always be on. The only reason that I often will turn it off and on is to adjust the volume. So that's one thing that you may need to turn off guided access for. And again, that's triple clicking that home button to get in and out. So again, like I had showed before, to change the users, you may want to do this if you have two students using the same iPad, or if your students' icons are missing, you may be set up on the wrong user. So like I had shown in my vocabulary on the iPad, I had different students' names, and then I had that coloring user to work on vocabulary for coloring. So I might want to change the user to get back to the student that has specific vocabulary or set up on a specific vocabulary builder. So I showed this again. You're going to click vocab, choose new vocab, and then select that user that you want to set on. Okay, so how do I teach a new word on LAMP? So one way is called backwards chaining with errorless learning. So what we're going to do is, if the word takes 3 touches, so like I had shown before, apple, you want to model the first 2 touches. So you physically are clicking the first 2 touches, and then you're prompting the student to hit that final touch, which is the word apple. Your prompt can be preferably gestural by pointing to the icon. If it's a student that needs a little bit more assistance, an underhand full physical prompt can be used. And then for step 2, when the student can do the final touch unassisted, so that means you're not prompting, you're not pointing, model the first touch of the sequence and then prompt the second touch. So we're decreasing that amount of prompting that we're giving. And after they can do the final 2 unassisted, just prompt the first step. So that's me pointing to eat, and then clicking eat, clicking fruit, clicking apple. And this can be done. This isn't something that has to be done over weeks and weeks. In a lot of situations, this can be done in just 2 sessions, the students learning that motor pattern, and we're backing up our prompting, preferably as quickly as we can, to make the students still successful, so that they're not relying on that prompting. And we do want to be careful with any sort of prompting, especially when it comes to requesting, because we don't always know exactly what the student is requesting. And we do want to give some independence in that regard and see where they're going to go with it. You know, always let them have priority to touching their device if it is their device. So we are there to assist. So I'm going to go back to that Apple just to, okay. So in this case, I would, if I'm starting to teach a new word, I would touch eat, touch fruit, and then I'm going to point to apple. The student was able to do that. Great. The next time I'm going to touch eat and point to fruit, and they should touch apple by themselves. If you've done this and then, you know, it's falling off, you can increase that prompting again. So really feel out what the student is doing and the least amount of prompting while still promoting accuracy. So I'm gonna go. So the final slide says your student's SLP is the expert when it comes to their device. Please let them know if you have any specific questions about their specific LAMP app. If you have any general questions or troubleshooting problems or want to know more, email me anytime. So I'm gonna stop this and I'm gonna open up to questions. If anybody has questions, feel free to unmute.
Hi, I just have a question. Will we be getting the handouts that you were just showing us?
The PowerPoint?
Yes.
Yeah, I can absolutely send that, no problem.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? And again, for anybody that missed it in the beginning, this is the information that we share with parents when they come in for parent training. We also, you know, practice with them based on what their student likes, and we'll go through some of the sequences. So this is kind of the information that they're getting and the basis of it. I do plan in December to do a PD on one of those 20 minutes of more specific modeling, but this was just kind of the intro. So anybody have any other questions before we close?
Thank you so much, Megan.
Oh, yeah.
It's so helpful. In all the years I've been here, I've just been crutching along trying to figure it out.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Really helpful.
Good. I'm glad. And I'll definitely send this along. I also recorded this. So I'm going to share that with some of the classes that couldn't make it today as well. And yeah. All right. Thank you guys all so much for attending and taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.